And welcome back. Of course, it's time to get up close and personal right here on Alfajiri. And our next guest, if I said that, seated next to me on my left is a gentleman by the name of Paul Ongili, very many people would be like, who are you talking about? Who's that? If I said Babu Owino, however, now that would ring a bell. Mheshimiwa Embakasi East MP, karibu sana.
Asante sana, Jeff.
Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure.
And, even as we start this interview, there are very many things you're known for. You've been a SONU chair, you're now MP East Embakasi, but also you've come to be one of those guys who some phrases just become popular because of how they were used in a certain time. In case you're wondering how Mr. Babu Owino also took a phrase that was just used usually in soccer and made it a Kenyan phenomenon. Take a look. Let's start from there.
By next week, yes, I will talk to the chairman of all universities in the nation. Yes. Any other comrade who has not received help, yes, we will block all the roads mercilessly. Yes. And we are inviting the police, yes, to come for violent, yes, demonstration, yes, because we will be ready. Yes. Comrade power. Comrades team. Asante sana comrades.
Tibim. And that's a phrase you took and you ran with. At times when you're seated here and you watch, Babu Sonu chair, I could see you laughing. What was going through your mind? What are you thinking about that young man? I'm a bebwa juju telling comrades Tibim.
I think as a SONU chairman, I was defending the rights of the comrades, not only spiritedly, but also religiously. Because I know that most of these comrades come from very humble backgrounds. And if they didn't get a leader who could fight for their rights, then probably most of them could have not cleared campus. You see, then the government was so harsh on the comrades. Help could delay, but the main reason why help was delaying was probably that the help as a board, the officials of help, there was a propaganda that they were delaying help deliberately so that they could make interest out of that money. But I believe that as a student leader was given that job to ensure that my students get help on time, to ensure that university fees are not increased. You remember during the time when the then Cabinet Secretary Kaimenyi wanted to increase university fees, but I had to mobilize and talk to the student leaders across the nation because I was the president also of Kenya University Students Organization. So I had to mobilize them to ensure that fees is not increased to the students across the nation, because an average comrade comes from a very poor background. And I always make a joke that this comrade might want to die, but because of poverty, he or she cannot even afford a rope to hang himself. So by the end of the day, it was my job to protect their rights. That's why I think the people of Embakasi East, after seeing that I performed well as a student leader, they had to poach me from the university to go and protect their interest at the Embakasi East constituency and do the same. Okay,
and we'll be talking about that as well. But the funny thing is, even as you talk about being SONU chair at the University of Nairobi, that even according to how it was going to play out, you weren't even supposed to be there. You were called to Moi University in Eldoret. Egerton University.
Yes.
And you decided, okay, no, you know what? I'll have a different plan. I'll first go into business and then sort my way out. What was your thinking at that particular time?
Actually, what I did, I was disappointed. When I did my KCSE exams, I got A-. And the first time that I bought a newspaper in my life was when the results for the KCSE came out in 2005. So I knew I was in top 100 in Nyanza province. Actually, I knew I was in top 10. And I had to check top 100 and missed my name. So I knew this is not it, because I worked so hard, having gone through such harsh conditions. The process that I went through to actually reach my fourth form was crazy. And that's the time I told my mom, I'm not going to the university. I will not go, I will not. I was called to do business administration, and I said I won't do that, because I always wanted to be a lawyer. That's the reason why I came for my second degree. But I was always good at math. So I decided to take my first degree as actuarial science, then later on joined university again, came back to the university and did my law degree. But in my mind, the reason why I didn't go to Egerton is because of the disappointment. But I know God's plan. There's a time for everything. This is the time that I know that probably God had a different plan for me. Remember in the Bible when there's Joseph. Joseph was sold by his brothers as a prisoner, as a slave. And then later on, he became a prime minister. Even went to prison, came out, became a prime minister, and helped the family. So God has a plan. And I think because of that, that's why I'm here.
And when did the political bug bite you? You know, to realize that you want to get, involved in student politics at the time. What made you want to get started in that?
Actually, I've been a leader throughout my life. In primary, all throughout, I was a prefect. Then in class 8, I was they used to call it the head boy, the head student. Then after that, same to high school, became the head student. By there, I did my A-levels. That's the Cambridge system. After I deferred my education at Egerton, I said that the first thing I need to do, probably to keep me busy in Nairobi, was to do my A-levels. When I did my levels, I became number 2 in the whole world in mathematics, and I was given scholarship to Southampton University in southern London. That's when I realized that probably I need to join a university, the University of Nairobi, to pursue actuarial science. I was given 70% scholarship, but I couldn't afford the 30% because it was going into millions. So I decided to join the University of Nairobi.
Right.
But I've been, even when I was taking my Cambridge system, I was also a leader. I was also the student leader. Then joined University of Nairobi. And in my first year, I was the Secretary General of an organization at Chiromo. It was called ONUS. Then after that, vied in SONU. I was unsuccessful. Then in 2011, became the chairman of SONU. That's 2011-2012. Graduated with first class honors in actuarial science in 2012. Then went to vie in Westlands as a member of National Assembly.
How was that experience?
It was crazy. When I remember that, I always just laugh. At times I tell my party leader that this was the worst experience in my life. But at least it was an experience. I lost elections, but at least learned something from it.
What was the biggest lesson you learned from that defeat, trying to vie for Westlands MP?
I think loyalty. Loyalty is rewarded. Disloyalty, okay, I wasn't punished for being disloyal, but disloyalty is always punished in politics, but loyalty is rewarded. Because then Tim Wanyonyi was vying against me. But he won the nominations, although I didn't see the results for the nominations up to date. The certificate was given to Tim. So I said maybe I need to be more loyal so that next time when I give it a try, then I can make it. But it was a worst experience. Then decided to go back to the university for my second degree. That's law, because my dream was always to be a lawyer. Yeah, then became a chairman 3 consecutive terms again. But I believe that the students were electing me because of my performance, how I was dealing with them. In the nation, when Babu was called then, it's not this being a member of a National Assembly that has made my name. But then, as a student leader, students knew that Babu was a performer. That's why they were giving me that opportunity. And
it's a good thing you bring that out, because especially when you went back and served as chair for the 3 terms, you almost got another moniker. People are saying Babu Owino is like Mugabe. He doesn't want to let go of this seat. What was going on at that particular time?
It's not that I didn't want to let go. It's the students who didn't want to let me go because of my performance in SONU. They knew how well I was working to defend their rights, how well I was ensuring that whatever they wanted as students, they were getting. Right now, you see, even in Parliament, they passed a bill which is now a law that Babu was not to contest. But they didn't know my game plan. My game plan was to serve the students, then after that, vie as a member of the National Assembly. And I knew very well that I would win. I would be a member of National Assembly this time round. And I was always confident. There's a time I posted 1 year before elections, even before nominations, that I'm sure I'm going to be the member of National Assembly of Embakasi East constituency, because I had planned well. So I was just following the strategy that I had put in place. So people were calling me the Mugabe of the university, but they didn't know. Some thought that Babu was just overstaying at the university because he lacks brains. And you know, to be a little bit arrogant, I almost told one journalist that for you to talk to me, then you must have scored first class honors in any course, because it was too much. They were saying, Babu, you need to leave the university. You are taking too much time. Is it because probably you don't have the brains? And I know my mom didn't give birth to a fool. He gave birth to an intelligent and a visionary person.
And even at that particular time, let's just stick to student politics for 1
Yes.
second. Another story that came to the fore was in terms of your campaign budget.
Yes,
Because we're talking about, this is student politics, you're even before you went for your second degree.
Yes.
First time round, there were some reports where you said you're spending between 800,000 to $1 million shillings for the campaign,
Yes, yes.
for chair. And people would look back and look at that budget and like, wait, this is a student. Yes, there are a couple of donations that come from friends to help him in this particular venture. But how does he get 1 million shillings to get into this particular race? How does it work?
I think I was getting donations from friends, and students themselves were contributing for me because they already knew that this person was a performer. So I could call for fundraising, they could give me the money. Politicians could also fund me. I was also a friend of the former president of Libya, Gaddafi. We visited him as a student, some few students in the country. So he was also coming into my campaigns. So that's how I used to raise my funds for the campaigns.
So it was other donations that would help you put this money together.
Yes.
And even as all of this was going on, you know, the beauty about it is that we've seen Babu Owino, the Sonu chair, and, you know, a bit of him as Embakasi East MP. And
Yes.
even as an MP, Babu, as we're still talking about money,
Yes.
this whole thing of Kenyan MPs, you know, you look at their salary and you try to, you know, just equate that with salaries of other MPs around the world, and they're really highly paid. And you look at our economy, it's probably not doing as good, you know?
Yes.
And we wonder, okay, why? Because that's questions very many citizens ask. I'm sure hata wase wa Emba wanauliza, kwani they don't see we are hustling and they're getting all this money? Is it not enough, that salary and allowances? What happens, Bob?
I think, first of all, Kenya as a nation, there's a problem because even the budget that we passed the other day, around 3 trillion, KRA said very well that they can only afford half of that. The remaining half, we decided to contact IMF that agreed to fund us, but on one condition that almost over 60,000 public servants must leave their work. That is now employment opportunities that we are supposed to create. We are creating more spaces where there is no employment opportunity in the nation. So I believe that that is where the mistake starts. Historical injustices, the money that is being looted by these public servants is too much. When we come to the salaries of MPs, I think it's high as compared to other nations, and I'm in support that any law that can lead to the reduction of this salary is proper, because we are servants. Personally, I vied as a member of parliament not for the money part of it. Otherwise, I would have concentrated in my business, but to serve the people of Embakasi's constituency. And my salary, when you look at the pay slip, I almost get nothing every month, because I use this money to pay school fees for students. I use this money to help in paying hospital bills. Some people come to me that they want rent. There are some projects that youths want. So I have to go deep into my pocket and at least do something about it. Yes.
And you know, the thing is, some people usually say, because many MPs say, yeah, we are helping the constituency, there are people coming, Harambe this, Harambe that, and then you're told, but there's also CDF money that's supposed to be essentially doing that type of thing. So why is every MP saying we need a lot of money to give to these particular people?
The CDF money is meant for other projects, but is not meant for Harambes. But as a member of parliament, people always believe, you know, the time that you were campaigning, there were so many aspirants. So there was diversion in the people who were being approached in terms of help. But right now, everybody is converging to a specific person. So you have to, responsibility is added. So you have to at least help these people. By the end of the day, you can't depend on the CDF to do Harambes, to pay hospital bills. That is your personal money. So, yeah.
You go out and you have to dish it out from your own pocket.
You have to give it. You have to give it.
And let's talk about you being Embakasi East MP, because for a while, it was hanging in the balance.
Yes.
We weren't too sure. It could have gone either way, you know. As we waited for the appeal ruling to come from the Court of Appeal, it could have gone either way. So if it had gone the other way and, you know, it was nullified and that was that, what was Babu planning on doing from there?
I think Babu was elected by the people of Embakasi's constituency. And during the campaign period, I always knew that I would be the member of parliament. The High Court ordered for a recount of the votes, and it stated clearly in one of the cases of Peter Munya that once a recount is done, then any other irregularity or illegality is treated by the recount. This is one of the constituencies where a recount was done in all the polling stations, in the whole constituency. That's like a by-election. Then after winning it, suppose my opponent won in the recount, then the law demands that either this person is given a certificate or a by-election is called. So for the judge to reach at a decision that a recount is done means that he's already looked at all possibilities of nullifying this election and there is none, meaning that he's solely relying on the recount report to make his decision. So after me winning the recount, what does that show? You cannot undermine the will of the people. People had already made their decision. So I was always sure. You remember, I said that even if the president and the deputy president vied in Embakasi's constituency, I would still win because I knew I would win Embakasi's constituency and I had faith and trust in the people who elected me. So I was so calm. That's why even after nullification of my election, I always knew that when the rubber meets the road, then Babu will still be back in parliament.
So you didn't think it would go any other way?
No. That person could not, he can't match me politically. He can't, and he can't win against me. Whether he starts campaigning 10 years earlier and I only campaign for 1 week, I will still beat him pants down. Yes.
Okay, and let's move on from that because at least once that was out of the way, now you can breathe easy, decide to serve the electorate better. That's now out of the way. Let's talk about the World Cup. I saw you are supporting, there was one point you were supporting the underdogs, Croatia.
Yeah. The main reason why I was supporting Croatia is because when students were murdered at Garissa University, you remember the students in Croatia,
Zagreb
they had
University.
to give, they had to, they slept, do we call it sleeping? They had to give a minute of silence, but it was around 147 seconds of silence to the comrades who left us. And I knew that those people have the spirit of the comradeship in them. And we always say once a comrade, always a comrade. And a comrade is always right. A comrade is never wrong. When rule number 2 fails to apply, refer to rule number 1, that a comrade is always right. So I knew those are comrades and they had the spirit of the comradeship in them. That's why I was supporting
Croatia. And
yes,
the beauty about it is that you are watching it from here.
Yeah, I was watching it from here. I didn't prefer going to Russia. I had an option of going, not using the public funds, but my own money. But I had other issues that I could attend to. My constituents comes first. So I think I had to attend to my constituents. And I believe that money that I could have used to travel to Russia and even spend there my expenses is enough to start projects for the youths and women in my constituency. Okay. That's the main reason why I didn't go there. Yes.
But you didn't go, but of course it hit the press. Around 20 MPs decided to go. Yes, some had been there for pretty much the entire tournament. Others went for the final. And it was all under this guise of the word benchmarking. Babu, really? Are we going to benchmark that? Have we sorted out all the other problems that now we need to benchmark an international soccer tournament? Is that where we are at as a country?
I think Babu as a person, I had other things that I was doing for my constituents. And that money in itself, I've already budgeted for the money that I have that I receive every month for my constituents. So I think if I travel there, then that money would, some people would be lacking some basic needs. And I didn't want them to suffer as I enjoy. But other MPs, I will not comment about them, about their benchmarking. They have reasons why they went there. So I will not be the first person to throw the stone.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, and even as we wind up on this one, very many people are talking about the fact that, as we always say, Babu has a game plan. Yes. His game plan when he was at Sonu for those last 3 terms as chairperson, he was looking at Embakasi East. That was his plan.
Yes.
Now that he's at Embakasi East, people are saying that you're looking at the governorship of Nairobi 2022.
I think I'm not looking at it. I will be the governor of Nairobi 2022. Right now, I don't want to campaign. I want to give the current governor time to deliver to Nairobians. By the end of the 5 years, it's Nairobians who will judge. So I want to support him as a member of parliament. I need the governor to work with him to deliver services to the constituents of Embakasi East. Right now, I want to concentrate to work for my people. I don't want to concentrate in campaigns. I'm from a very rigorous and tedious campaign. I think I'm the longest member of parliament who's campaigned till after elections. 1 year after elections, I was still campaigning because of the nullification and the Court of Appeal issues. So I believe that I need to give the governor time. Personally, when 2022 comes, I'm the right person for Nairobians. Yes.
So that's the next step.
That's the next step. Yes.
Okay, and you'll wait and see how that goes, because I think there are a couple of lessons you've learned throughout your political journey.
I think I'm too experienced in politics as we speak, because as a student leader, I was elected 4 times. And you know, being elected at the university even twice, even once, is not easy. And having been elected 4 times, and then being elected as a member of National Assembly, I think I have enough experience, because I've been elected many times as compared to other members of parliament or other leaders. So I believe I have what it gets. I have the brains. I'm so organized, and I believe that I can only pray to God to give me the wisdom and open my heart to accept everybody.
Okay. On that note, we just say thank you so much, Mr. Babu Owino, for coming through. TB Mapo, it's the year of the handshake.
TB.
Asante sana.
Okay.
And of course, from us, it's a wrap right here on Alfajiri. It's time to go, guys.
Absolutely, it's time to go. Tomorrow is Hangout Friday, and I'm so excited. It's the favorite day of the week, so you do not want to miss what we have in store for you. I have been your host, Sarah and Anutashna.
I'm sure Mariuki.
And I'm Jeff Mott. Have a great Thursday. Tomorrow, we hang out right here on Alfajiri.
Bye-bye.